I recently had the opportunity to actually drive from Hohenwald, Tennessee, all the way up to St. Louis. And on part of that journey, I actually was able to drive down the Natchez Trace Parkway. If you don't know what the Natchez Trace Parkway is, please Google it for the historical aspects of it. But it's 444 miles of road that has no billboards, no commercial trucks are actually allowed to travel on it. It has no fast food joints along it. It's a road built with absolute intention and historical context. And every mile of that road is something magical and it has a true experience that has been created around it. And it really hit me as I was making this drive that most of us as founders, we don't build our businesses in the way that that road was. We don't build it with that level of intention and that level of clarity. So we end up with all of these offshoots and these things that just pop up along the way that actually end up taking away from the entire experience of what it should be to be a founder, to be a CEO, and what the experience that it should actually be for most of our clients. This is what happens when we build our systems and tools on the fly, when we are in constant reactive and firefighting mode. This is what happens when you're the one that's holding everything together because it still all lives in your brain. And so, if that sounds like you, I just like to talk about how this doesn't have to be you anymore. And it all starts with the CEO's operating system. Most of us don't have one, and we don't even know how to actually start to build it. I was recently onboarding a new client, and when I got into their Slack, I just realized like everything was still living in this client's head. And so she had a million conversations going on. Half of them were in voice notes, and I was trying to download everything that she was sending. And the team was living in this constant state of reactiveness as well, because again, she's just sending out these messages as she has different ideas. She has nowhere to actually go and park all of the things that are going on in her brain. She has no way to know what should I prioritize right now. So to her, everything feels urgent. It feels like it needs to happen quickly. And to the team, they're just on the receiving end of everything that's going on. I call this drinking by the fire hose. They're just, they have a constant onslaught of her ideas coming at them. The founder doesn't have that intentional operating system set up. And again, she doesn't have a place that she can actually go and park all of these ideas so that they're there for the future, for when they should be an actual priority for her business. But the good news is when you build this with a lot of intentionality and you make use of the AI resources that are available to us now, then you actually have something that can hold all of those ideas for you. An operating system, it can't take a vacation. Your AI resources and AI agents, they don't have to take a vacation either. They don't get sick. And you can talk to them with a little enthusiasm when you want to. That is the benefit of having this set up. Now, while we were actually in Hohenwald, Tennessee, we got the chance to go and visit the gravesite of Meriwether Lewis. And I think it was super impactful for both me and for my daughters. In fact, about the first hour of our trip and traveling on that day, she ended up downloading a lot of the experiences that she had been having between that and Nashville, and just, sharing a lot of what she was thinking and what had happened. I think for all of us, it was an absolute surprise to find out that Meriwether Lewis died at the age of 35. He died broke. He was in debt. He was deeply unsatisfied with his life, even given all of the things that he had accomplished. Because, yes, I'm talking about that Lewis of Lewis and Clark, the one that had sent back artifacts that still hang on the wall of Thomas Jefferson's home in Virginia, the one that we still celebrate in our history books today. He was deeply unsatisfied with his life, and so he actually ended up taking his own life. And so that was a huge surprise for all of us. He was someone who changed the entire course of our country, and he couldn't figure out that the impact of what he had done had more significance than what was happening at that present moment. And so he left this earth feeling like, his value didn't match the exact outputs that he was giving it. The next day after we visited that gravesite, we ended up going into Nashville. My dad bought my oldest a guitar, and we actually had the chance to catch a show at the Grand Ole Opry. She got to watch one of her American Idol favorites, and we got to watch another person that was from American Idol. And I developed a new love for this band called Riders in the Sky, which are all over the age of 70. But what really stood out to me and the thing that we were having the conversation around is how those people, riders to the sky, who are still doing this thing that they love at the age of 70, and this American Idol icon that is actually building his own personal brand and style from the bottom up. He's just a young teenager, how their gratitude just really poured off of the stage, that attracted me to their performances over that of the headliners. They still stand out to me, now, even weeks later. I think about their performances over the ones that were headlining it. And I think that that is something that we can bring into our business every day. It doesn't just have to be about the margins, it doesn't just have to be about the systems. It has to be about building this business that really gives you a sense of purpose and carries you forward into the future. But it also needs to be about building a business that doesn't consume your entire life. So, as I was driving down the Natchez Trace Parkway, all of these thoughts were flooding my brain, and I knew I needed a place to actually download and offload what was happening. I needed someone and something to be able to really sort through what would actually be a priority for me to focus on at this particular time. And then I needed someone to actually go and park things and park them in my project management system in a place I know I can come back to them in the future. So I opened up Merida. Merida is my name for Claude because it's orange, it has sort of reddish hair. I have the curly hair to match, and so Merida just seems to be a suiting name. And I opened up the project named AI Integrator. This is the one that I have intentionally set up to actually help me with this exact thing, to help me, focus on the things that should be a priority right now, to know the outcomes that I'm trying to achieve in my business, and to go and park those things that don't need to matter right now. It's also the one that I've actually set up to help assign out key tasks to my team members and to send out Slacks with intention and purpose when they're absolutely necessary. So I went into Claude. I opened up Merida. I opened up my AI integrator, and I started to have a very long conversation with it. By the end, it had assigned out 4 key tasks, 2 of which it assigned to my virtual assistant, 2 of which it assigned to me, one for now and one for later. And I actually felt empty, offloaded, complete, however you want to put it, because I had gotten all of those ideas, all of the things that were floating around in my brain out and parked and put somewhere where I knew that I wouldn't lose them. I could come back and focus on them at a later time, or I could prioritize them the next day when I wasn't making this 6.5 hour drive actually from Hohenwald to St. Louis with my family. And that was just the start. This is actually only the very first layer of your entire CEO operating system. There are 3 separate layers: think, execute, and grow. The think layer is where you utilize tools like Claude and Notion to house all of your knowledge, to help you strategize, to help you think through what it is that you need to do. Execute, that's where the work actually happens. It's where you assign out key tasks in your project management system. It's where things turn from ideas into actual tangible results. And then grow, well, that's how you grow your business. It has to do with your CRM, your sales tools, your marketing, and each of those systems that you use in that area. Your CEO operating system, it does not have to be overly complicated. It does have to be built with a lot of intention. The last thing that we want are mismatched fast food joints and billboards and commercial trucks popping up all over the place. We want it to look like the Natchez Trace. We want it to be built with a lot of intention. We want you to look around and think, man, this really works. And it really helps to clarify the objectives and the things that I'm trying to do. And when you get it built in this way, you don't have to have a huge team. You can build an autonomous, high performing, very lean team to help you scale your business to 1, 5, $10 million and beyond. But when you end up with all of those mismatched systems that don't talk to each other, that's when you feel like you're drowning and you need 100 team members just to try to keep everything operating at, let's say, status quo, not even maximum efficiency. And here's one additional thing that I just actually want to add in for context, something about efficiency. Like, all of this isn't just about feeling less overwhelmed as the founder. It's actually about gaining efficiencies in your business. And efficiencies do affect your bottom line. When you're operating at maximum efficiency, that's when you're going to see your gross and net margins start to increase. So we're not talking about revenue. I say this all the time. Your business is not just about revenue. We're talking about those numbers that actually impact the amount of cash in your bank account after everything else is said and done. You want your team and yourself performing at maximum efficiency. This is where that can start to show up for you. When you start to move the needle on your margins, it means you're actually working smarter, not harder. So look, if any of this landed for you, if you have any curiosity about what the CEO operating system is and the tools that make it up and how it can impact both the performance of you, your team, and your business as a whole, join me in one of my free upcoming live trainings. I do host them monthly, and it is free, completely free to attend. So if you want to get your invite, click the link in the description and I will see you there.